Hey guys, how's it going? This is Bada Boopy, and this is gonna be episode 4 of Buried. So once again, I totally didn't put the statistics in the last video, so today we're gonna look through them. We're gonna see what's going on. So you and 59% of players told Dennis he'd probably be fine. That's yeah, I mean over half. That seems about right. You and 35% of players sided with Amy on pulling the hydraulic door. Interesting, so not a lot of people thought that would be a good idea. You and 31% of players gave the gun to Marcus. See, I do kind of regret that decision a lot. You and 42% of players killed Marcus. Interesting. You and 68% of players conserved your bullets for later instead of shooting the creatures. I wonder what would have happened if we shot at them. Probably nothing, and later on when we need the bullets, we probably wouldn't have the bullets. So I'm actually really happy that I did save the bullets, because I'm judging by the games that I have played, I know we're probably going to need the bullets later. So let's fucking do this shit. Things are getting intense. I'm excited. So let's see what the fuck's going on. Alright. The ride up the elevator is tense. I take a series of deep breaths, doing everything I can to stay in control. Amy has gotten back to her feet, but her head is pressed against the elevator wall as she suppresses a series of sobs. I find myself trying to remember the way those creatures looked, but my mind seems to shudder at the effort. I have seen something that is an impossibility, a mockery of what I know as real. This fills me with a terror that dwarfs anything else I have felt since discovering the facility. I try to focus my mind on something else, and that's when I remember that I've just murdered Marcus. I killed Marcus, I say, the thought feeling like jumping into cold water. Had you ever killed anyone before? Amy asks. No. He was going to kill me, she says. I'm sure of it. Probably. Well, thank you, she says, but her tone is unsteady in her voice. Her face is unreadable. I still can't believe I did it. Of course. See? Good. I guess he deserved it, she says. Her comment hangs in the air for a moment as we wait for the elevator to stop. So, I say, how did you end up in here? She gives a nervous chuckle and shrugs. I used to work with the Pentagon. It was some pretty upper echelon stuff that I still can't discuss. I assume this place is even more upper echelon. I'm assuming that's what it is, I said. This place isn't even on the scale, she answers. My other job was a cakewalk compared to this. Then why stay? I ask. Because the money is ridiculous. I have a 13-year-old daughter already talking about Harvard. You do the math. Yeah, no, that would... if it fucking pays the bills and more, then why not? That's ambitious? Wow, that's fucking rude. Any other kids? I'm curious. No, just the one. Her dad split on us when she was 3. I never remarried, so no siblings for her. I may have only gotten one, but the one I got is amazing. That's cute. Amy pauses before continuing softly. What if I never see... Her voice breaks off, the words too terrible to say. Her eyes fill with tears. The elevator comes to a stop, the slight ding of it interrupting the moment. Amy hastily wipes her eyes, and we waste no time getting back inside the command center. If she dies, I will riot. I'm just saying. I will be very, very upset. I ready the rifle, suddenly certain that there are more of those creatures waiting for us in the hallway of the second level. But the way is clear, allowing us to haul ass to the command center. Once again, I find myself staring at the screen that shows my ruined worksite. Okay, Amy says, typing commands rapidly. It can't be that hard. I keep peeking over my shoulder, my senses feeling as if the monsters are sneaking up on us, mere inches away. I then think of Dennis and wonder how he is faring back on level 3. Is he safe? I look back to the screens and see that Amy has finally found what she's looking for. A prompt on the screen says, override of hangar doors and all level 3 locks requires clearance code. Amy types in a number with shaking fingers and the screen goes black for a moment. The moment the words override confirmed comes up on the screen, Amy jumps up from the chair and heads out of the room. We have to be quick, she says. We have exactly 20 minutes to open those hangar doors. What happens? Are we that curious, or should we just get moving? Let's just get moving. We need to get the fuck out of here. I follow her out of the command center and bounce and bound back down the hallway towards the same elevator that brought us here. Amy punches the elevator button and the doors slide open. We're taking the same elevator back to the biochem room, I ask. These creatures are still down there. Those creatures are still down there. It's only the way back down. It's the only way back down, she says. The other way is blocked by those hydraulic doors we pulled, and hopefully the creatures left. Hopefully. Neither of us say anything else as we share a look of immense dread. We step back into the elevator and head back down to the biochem room on level 3. I'm scared what's gonna happen. Oh, something's happened with Marcus. This is the same room. Same area. As the elevator doors open, we peer out, looking to see if the creatures are still in the area. But it's all clear. When Amy looks to me, her eyes are clear and strong. Marcus wasn't entirely wrong, Amy says as we start walking back towards the hangar doors. About what? I ask. About how I am partially to blame for this. Oh, why would you be to blame? Yeah, you didn't do anything. Some of the things we do here, it's scary. We should have known that one day something like this would happen. Everyone here with knowledge of what goes on in level 3 is to blame, she says. It's a highly advanced research facility, I say, doing amazing but risky stuff. So yeah, you're partially to blame by just working here, but I can understand the dedication. So why don't you tell me a bit more about what does go on on level 3, I ask. Are you familiar with the Large Hadron Collider over in Switzerland? I've heard the phrase, but that's about it, I say. It's a powerful particle accelerator, she explains. Right now they're using it to try and create what's called dark matter. It's theorized that this dark matter actually makes up the majority of the universe, but parts of the universe very different from ours. My guess is the people at the LHC will probably create their first dark matter particle in about 2018 or 2019. Here in this facility, we were able to create one almost 10 years ago. It was the key to our research. Does this have something to do with those things? What does this matter do? What does this matter do? We use dark matter to assist with instantaneous transfer of a subject, but we have yet to perfect it or understand why it works. So you're saying it lets you gain access to different dimensions, I ask? That's the theory, she says. During the point-to-point transfer, the subjects are gone for about 3 to 6 seconds. There's no way to see or measure their presence, but they exist somewhere. From what we can tell, they exist in a kind of void. What is this place like? What have you done? Have you done this with people? What is this? Curious. Because they did it with rats, but we have sent human subjects through. Almost all of them have returned successfully. I make an involuntary grimace. Almost? There was one man, Dr. Kana, who didn't return. We don't know where. She trails off, taking a moment to collect herself. Sorry I asked, I say, feeling my mind start to bend inward again. As we continue to walk between the silos, we walk past the area where we left Marcus's body. I barely even glance at his body, still unable to believe that I was responsible for killing him. I almost don't want to look at it. I also don't want to look at additional damage the monsters caused. A pool of blood and mangled clothes are all I see through the corner of my eye. I realize that we are walking very close together between the silos, perhaps trying to create an illusion of safety. We reach the exit connecting to the hangar doors, where Dennis hopefully still is. My guts clench and my heart hammers in my chest as we open the door and walk through. I lift the rifle, but at first it seems like there is nothing waiting for us. And that's when I see the glowing, hulking shape to my left, closing in fast. Holy shit. You better fucking run. Get the fuck out of there. Oh shit. Oh shit. You better fucking go. You better go now. The creature is about 10 feet away and coming in quick, so I do the first thing that comes to mind. I drop to the ground, making myself a smaller target, and raise the rifle. I'm not sure if I should just unload on the bastard or try to be choosy with my shots and weaken it, or at least slow it down. Shoot. Shoot. It's such a hard... I mean, you want both, but maybe... Shoot to weaken. That seems... I don't know, I feel right. My shot causes the entire Milky Way frame to jerk to the floor. It flounders, its ghost-like tentacles writhing with rage as it cries out to me. It seems to turn and jerk away, parts of it appearing and disappearing every few feet. It moves down the hall and out of sight. I look quickly around for others, but there's only Amy. She looks at where the monster went with her wide eyes. Her face is pale, and I wonder if, like me, she's able to feel her mind trying to retreat. Come on, I say. Let's find Dennis and get through these hangar doors. Amy glances at her watch and nods. We're already down to 6 minutes. We turn towards the hangar doors, and I'm a little disgusted with myself because the bloody scene that so shocked me before now seems mild. Amy goes to work on the computer console on the side of the doors. She starts punching in keys before saying, "This is going to take some time." "I thought you already unlocked it," I ask. "I did," she says. "But for this door, there's still some security permissions I need to hack. Marcus would have known how to do this." She trails off, and I decide to let her work. Suddenly, something slams into me. I feel my feet leave the floor, and I'm literally thrown across the concrete. I look up in time to see one of the creatures. It's apparently in no hurry to attack me again, focusing on Amy instead. She's not armed. I need to come up with a plan to get this thing away from her so she can focus on getting the door open. It raises one of its flickering appendages, making me certain that part of its makeup is pure light and energy. I could easily take a shot with my rifle, but my mind again goes to how much remaining ammo I have. The only other thing I can think of is to get it to chase me and lead me away from this room. Somewhere. Definitely save your ammo. I know it. "Hey," I yell. "Right here. Come get me. I'm the one that shot your buddy." It turns to me, and I am again faced with staring at something that has no business in this world, in this reality. Its body gives off a sort of glow around the central part, a bulbous core that is branched off into two humps, very much like a spider. Again, I sense that this visual information is not accurate, but it's the best my simple mind can do to make sense of this impossible creature. It starts lurching towards me and lets out a shriek of agony that makes my ears feel like they'll explode. Now that I'm sure it's coming after me, I take off running and head into another hallway we haven't been down. I find myself in an industrial-looking area, and I'm pleased to find that the monster has followed me through. Good. So we can give her time to do shit she needs to do. Oh shit. You gotta fucking run fast though. The room seems to be an assortment of old pipes and tanks. I assume some of them run further down into other areas of the facility. With the creature on my tail, I dash into the maze of metal, hoping to lose it. It's definitely having a harder time squeezing through than I am, and it slows it down. Of course, the room's not a cage of any kind. The thing is still heading towards me, shredding through the pipes as it rages. I notice that sometimes it is breaking the steel gritters, but other times it seems it's somehow merging or changing them. Pipes that were separate are now connected together, in a way that makes my head hurt. I finally get a good amount of distance between myself and the creature. I think it's lost my trail. I need to get back to those hangar doors. There's not much time before they close shut. But if I make a sound, that creature could be on my heels again. Just keep running, man. You just gotta keep running. There's no time, I think to myself. I have to get moving. With no care of staying silent, I twist myself through some more pipes and make my way back towards the door I entered through. Immediately, the creature picks up on this and turns towards me, but I don't even look back. I slide through this rusted obstacle course and sprint back to the hangar doors. Oof, you better fucking go. Oh my god. Oh, man. We could do this. You just gotta run through, get to those doors. I burst back into the large room and see Amy still working on the computer terminal by the hangar doors. "You okay?" I ask Amy. I can clearly see her battling for control of her facilities. Steeled determination wins out, and she gives me a grim nod. "Any sign of where Dennis went?" I ask, hoping she hasn't noticed his body somewhere. "No," she replies. It's then that I realize that I have no idea how many rounds I have remaining in the rifle. This isn't a model I'm familiar with. Outside of some deer hunting, I'm not much of an expert on firearms. Still, I am able to locate the chamber easily and see that there are 4 rounds left. Not great, but it could be worse. How are we on time?" I ask her. 4 minutes. I'm going as fast as I can. I was worried how long it would take you to lose that thing. "Well," I say, "I decided it was better to get back quickly than to..." At that moment, the creature screams on the other side of the door. He'll be in here any second. Amy does her best to focus on the keyboard, but there's still no sign of Dennis. Before I have time to look around, a screeching sound erupts from the other side of the room. I bring the rifle up in a shooter's stance and turn around. With the hangar doors right behind me, no signs of Dennis, and a closing window of time, I have to be confident. Yet when 2 monsters come around the corner, my body wants to shut down. The appendages seem to jump in time and space, reaching out for a split second, independent of the body, and then disappearing back to where they came from. It turns and screeches at me, its glowing tentacles snaking out of its body. My knees tremble uncontrollably. Behind me, Amy shrieks. I feel myself losing control, my mind sliding into the abyss of insanity. I pull myself back from the brink. I've got to stay in control. Man. Save the ammo. You gotta save the ammo. I don't know. I could stand here and use my last 4 shots, but what good would that do? So instead, I turned to face the hangar doors. How much longer before you can open these things? Not long, she says, furiously typing into the terminal as commands flood the screen. I doubt it, I think to myself. Can I do anything to help, I ask? She doesn't answer, deep in concentration. I turn back around and see a looming shape appear. The creature comes around the corner, screaming out that static-like sound. I step away from Amy and the hangar doors and towards the monster, ready to defend her. I ready my rifle, but the creature wastes no time. It makes that jerky motion towards me, and there's a sharp pain in my chest as it collides with me. Or through me. It's hard to tell. My instinct is to try to grapple or hold this thing down, but then I realize I don't even know if that'll work. Oh, shit. That's gonna be a bad choice. Oh, fuck. Try and grapple or hold. I don't know. Shit. I figured I'd rather not try to learn more about the physical nature of this thing right now. I tuck and roll away from it, then stand up to face it. With a scream of defiance, I raise the rifle and put a round in its core. Then shot lands dead center, and the light inside of it flickers almost violently. It falls back against the wall, issuing a hiss of its telltale static noise. It then jerks away and retreats, at least for now. Another terror appears as if out of nowhere, screaming at me with its high-pitched whine. It bounds forward, charging in its strange, spastic way. I aim the rifle, intending to take this one in the core too. I take several shots, but it's still coming at me. As it slams into me, I realize I only have 1 bullet left. On contact, the wind is knocked out of my lungs and the back of my head strikes the floor. But neither of these things is as alarming as the fact that the beast is on top of me. Its exterior is like a seashell that had been pounding by the surface for so long that it has lost all edges and ridges. But the grip it tries to capture me with is pure violence. I feel those light-soaked appendages start to wrap around me. I raise the rifle, knowing I still have 1 shot left. The weight of the monster is erratic. One moment I feel weightless, another I feel like I'm going to be crushed. I push upwards with the rifle to aim, but it is overpowering me. I'm not sure I'd be able to get an effective shot off. I see the core of its body, a spider-like shape, connected to the rest of it by a thin white strings of tissue. I know I'll be dead within seconds unless I manage a shot, but I don't know where to aim. This thing has already survived for so long. Well, we've already tried the center. It's obviously not working, so definitely the tentacles. Let's see if that does anything. The creature is seconds away from tearing into my shoulder. I have to stop it now. I grunt as I try to angle the rifle in the direction of the beast's formless limbs. The appendages begin tugging down onto the barrel, and that moment I pull the trigger, unleashing my final shot. The shot aggravates it enough to win me some breathing room. I've saved my shoulder, but this thing's still alive and kicking. Thank God I saved this bullet earlier, that's what I'm saying. But then I see this creature extend its tentacles in a violent whip-like motion, scampering away while making that static screeching sound. The creature disappears into thin air and reappears a few feet away from me, retreating. With a shudder and a cry of desperation, I get to my feet just in time to see the monster head in the direction of the biochem room. Amy looks over at me from her terminal at the hangar doors, looking petrified. I manage to help myself up when I see another figure nearing us. But to my relief, I realize it's a human figure, Dennis, with a gun. "You okay, boss?" he asks, but his eyes aren't on me. They are looking to the creature, trying to understand exactly what he has just seen. "About 15 minutes ago, I heard the door that had the maintenance room unlocked," Dennis says, pointing to the room I tried to bust my way into earlier. "Ah," Amy says. "When I did the override up in the command center, it unlocked all small doors down here, including that maintenance room, when all the maintenance rooms have guns, that's right. I went inside there and hid," Dennis continues, "and while I was waiting for you to come back, I found a massive trunk. There were a few guns in it, so I grabbed this one," he says, patting his shotgun. "Yeah, we care about him." "Thanks, boss," he says. "Me too." "Great. Now, how is that door coming along?" I ask Amy. She makes a few final key presses and says, "Done." The doors open with the noise of hydraulics and a whoosh of air. Dennis, Amy, and I climb up and head through the doors, moving on nothing more than adrenaline. I see her look longingly at the maintenance room Dennis took the shotgun from. "You get into the hangar," Dennis says. I'll get some more firepower." Satisfied with the plan, Amy heads through the door. We scramble inside, finally inside the hangar. Dennis approaches from behind, holding several guns and looking like a kid who grabbed an armful of Halloween candy. Amy reaches out for a 9mm with one hand. Dennis turns to me and holds out a shotgun and a handgun for me to choose. Both look deadly. The shotgun looks more powerful, but the handgun will probably be more precise. We've tried the shotgun. Let's try the handgun. Mix it up a little bit. I select the handgun and am comforted by the way it looks. It seems to fit perfectly in my shaky grip. There are more creatures coming, as many as a dozen. They're floating down the hall quickly, their tentacles slithering. The way their light seems to mingle together is almost beautiful. Close the door, I yell at Amy. She dashes to another terminal mounted on the inside of the hangar doors and tries desperately to close them. It's not working, she says with tears in her eyes. This terminal is disabled. Dennis looks through the open doors, readying himself to shoot the first monster that nears us. Should we try to slow a few down or just run for it, he asks, his gun at the ready. Save your ammo, bro. You got to save your ammo. Good idea, says Amy. With that, we turn around and sprint out onto the hangar floor. Oh, it's getting insane. It's getting crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh, there's a hangar, so there's airplanes or nah? We can fucking fly away from this place. The room is enormous, so large to call it a room seems silly. A large concrete floor stretches out below an expanded lofted ceiling. The area is mostly empty, except for one side which has rows and rows of metal barrels. Back on the far wall is a lit area that seems to expose more rooms, labs, and machinery. Also in the rear of the hangar, I can see some kind of chamber or control center. Dennis and I follow Amy across the hangar floor. Behind us, a series of rough slithering sounds tell us that the creatures might have made their way into the hangar. From somewhere up ahead, a loud buzzing noise sounds out. It reminds me of the slight buzzing noise I'd heard in the forest, the noise that got me into all this trouble in the first place. I look ahead and see that the far of the back of the hangar, a bright red light is flashing. There is a small hatch or door below the light. The hatch is open and I can see a shape inside of it. I can barely make out a figure of a man standing there holding an industrial microphone, and as soon as I see him, I hear his huge amplified voice. It blares down over an intercom system and he sounds pissed. I don't know who the hell you are, he says, but this is a government facility on lockdown and there are protocols to... Shit! I assume the curse coincides with the exact moment he sees the creatures. They are making their way through the hangar doors. There are maybe 20 feet between us and the creatures. I act instinctively, firing twice as the handgun comes alive in my hands. One shot goes into the core of the monster, causing it to jerk backwards. Another shot slows down another. The accuracy I get with this 9mm is amazing. Amy and Dennis take the cue and start firing as well. The floor becomes littered with a swirling white fluid from the wounded creature's body, but they are not slowing down. The alarm keeps shrieking behind us, and when I turn to see if anything has changed back there, I trip over my feet. I hit the ground hard and in almost comic fashion slide several feet across the floor. From the ground, I see that we have managed to turn back 4 of them, but I also see that my estimate of a dozen is off. There are at least 20 of them. They're sick, dim light, sinister, and gloomy. Their appendages seem to bind together as they come forward. My only hope of survival is the man in the far doorway has somehow shut the hangar doors. His voice comes blaring over the intercom again, broken by the booming noise of the gunfire that we are laying down. Run here, run towards the isolation chamber. I'm not sure how much time we have. I realize that I can sprint ahead of Amy and Dennis, or I can hang back and give them cover. Give them cover. Always be that guy. Go inside, where that guy is, I say. I'll make sure we don't have any of those things right on our tails. I'll hold him back for a while. I know it sounds macho, but it also feels like the right thing to do. I have to at least try to give us some kind of chance for escape. So as Amy and Dennis run through the doors, I blast at the next thing I see that's moving. All I get from my troubles is a static like hiss and a high-pitched whistling noise. I'm able to beat them back a bit, forcing them to scatter. Each flicker of light is a small victory. If nothing else, I'm buying Amy and Dennis time. When I'm certain there's nothing more I can do, I turn and run. I hustle, quickly catching up to Amy and Dennis, who stop and turn to provide me with cover fire. There, Amy says, pointing to the small door where the man is standing earlier. The swarm is less than 15 feet away now, so furious that they are pushing through one another to get to us. I raise the handgun and fire, taking my time to aim. I hit one in the spider-like part of his body. I fire again, this time taking one in the core. I place 2 more rounds in this creature, eventually causing it to move backwards. We are in the middle of the hangar floor now, with the isolation chamber ahead and the monsters behind. Beside me, Dennis also fires. The kick of the gun jolts him, probably a result of him being weakened from the blood loss. His shot lands true, though, causing a jerking stumble and a flickering of its light. We're almost in, Amy yells as we get close to the door and we hope will save us. Yeah, let them go in first. Save them. Get inside, I tell Amy and Dennis, motioning for them to get moving with my gun. I open the door and give Dennis a push towards it. He resists, more eager to try taking down another of the beasts before making it safely, but he eventually gives in. I wait a beat to make sure Amy is inside too. I fire off a few rounds of the creature that are still headed for us, hoping to slow them down. When Amy and Dennis clear the door, I nearly dash inside, but then feel something hot seep into my back. Roger! Dennis yells. The pain in my back is so immense that I barely notice the fact that I am being lifted from the floor. I look down and see that one of the creatures is using its flowing arms to grab me by the waist, its tentacles wrapping around me. It lifts me into the air as if presenting me as a trophy to its friends. I try to focus, attempting to angle my arm in the way that will allow me to aim the handgun and place a bullet in its body. But it is shaking me violently, and its body parts are appearing and disappearing in a way that makes no sense. Another oddity of its structure. I can literally do nothing more than hang there like a rag doll, hoping to be saved. As it continues to hoist me up, screeching its approval, Dennis comes back out of the room and fires off a shot. The bullet catches the monster on the other side of its course, sending it backwards and causing it to freeze for a moment. It releases me and I hit the ground, dropping my gun and again finding myself unable to breathe. I feel slightly dizzy, but that fades when I see Dennis is still standing outside of the door. He's firing into the beast like a madman and doesn't see the one to his left, coming in along the edge of the wall. Push him out of the way. Get him! I try to dash towards Dennis to push him out of the way, but there's not enough time. Fuck. The creature jerks out of existence and then reappears right behind him. By the time Dennis turns and sees the creature coming, it's already drawn several of its appendages back to strike. Dennis tries to raise his gun, but it's knocked out of the way by one of the tentacles. No, don't die. No, no! A second tentacle strikes and Dennis is spun around and thrown off balance by the attack. Dennis catches himself before falling. Cool. A third tentacle wraps around Dennis's forearm and I can see it squeeze, tightening instantly. The tip of the appendage passes clean through his hand, its blood-soaked tip poking out through his palm. Dennis's face grimaces with pain as it tries to wrench his arm free, but the creature's tentacles has his hand speared like a nail through wood. In a moment of dark clarity, I realize that I can free him with a clean shot at the monster's tentacle, but it will likely mean blowing Dennis's hand off. Dennis! I yell over to the creature's high-pitched static sound. Can you get free? I have a shot, maybe. No, Dennis grasps, as the creature tosses him around like a hand like a puppet. Don't shoot, I can get free. I can't tell if he's right, but the other monsters are starting to encircle him. I need to act fast. No, shoot his hand off. Sorry, bro. Sorry. If I don't take the shot, while I have it, they're going to kill him. In a last-ditch effort, I try getting a good shot at the monsters, but there's no one. I'll hurt Dennis even worse if I try. I take aim and fire off a shot. The shot lands perfectly and results in a lot of blood and screams from both Dennis and the creature. Dennis's hand disappears into a spray of red and the monster's appendage simply fades away. It literally seems to wink out of existence. The creature screeches while Dennis hits the floor, wailing in pain. The reality of what I have done sets in and nearly paralyzes me. Get him, Amy says. I'll cover you. I nod, still reeling from the sight of what I have done to Dennis. I stumble onto the floor. Out of the door. Amy is true to her word. She fires off a few rounds into the approaching monsters as I make it to Dennis. I grab a hold of him with my good arm. I drag him backwards as fast as I can, nearly falling down in the process. When I reach the doorway, Amy reaches down and helps me drag his body the final few feet into the room. She manages to pull off another shot, and when I look to see what she has hit, is another dozen or so of the monsters. Dennis is writhing in pain, and when he looks up to me, he's sneering. "You crazy asshole," he screams. He shudders violently, sweat and tears crushing down his pale face. Amy slams the door behind us. Finally, we are inside the room, hopefully safe within what looks to be an isolation chamber of sorts. Along the frame, a little electric lock beeps at the door as the door is secured. Oh, shit, man. I think we did the right thing. I mean, we saved his life, right? I mean, sure, he doesn't have a hand, but if we didn't, I think they would have just killed him. Also, the saving ammo part, I knew that was going to be a thing. Totally knew it. Well, shit, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. That will be the end of Chapter 4. This time, let's look at the stats before I forget. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Let's see what other people did. Self-control. You win 49% of players shot to weaken the creature, not to kill it. That's a pretty safe bet. You win 41% of players distracted the creature instead of shooting it. Okay. You win 57% of players took the handgun instead of the shotgun. Yeah, that's... You and 57% of players disobeyed Dennis's wishes not to shoot, causing him to lose his hand. So over half of the people did it. So I don't feel bad because other people did it too. So, well, thank you again so much for watching. I always appreciate the support, and I will see you guys in Chapter 5.